Welcome back to the Verythin project. So basically, we've got most of the work done on the wood side in terms of the frets. Now we've got to address the electronics. And in the previous video, I said that I'd replace one of the pickups. So what we've got is a Wilkinson pickup in this one, because the original Hofner pickup was broken. So that's there. This isn't an original pickup, but I'm going to leave it in. The client wants it left in there. And I've got the wires coming out of the cavity, because this all has to be wired outside, and then we're going to get all the pieces back inside and then up through the holes. And we've also we've got the socket at the back there. So I've got my my pots, my potentiometers, into a bit of card that I've put some holes into, and I'm going to wire it up as far as I can between the pots on this card, and then I'm going to bring it over here and wire in the pickups, and then we'll look at how we're going to get it back into the case. It's actually going to go back in that way round, obviously, but we will see how that goes. So let's do a bit of soldering. Okay, we've got it all wired up now, so both the pickups are wired. As I said before, the wiring's done outside the cavity for obvious reasons. There's no cavity access at the back of this guitar, so we've got to get the pots in through this hole here, which we'll do in a minute. And it's all wired up, plugged into an amp, and we're just going to test if it works. Yep, that one works, and that will work. So yeah, we've got a working guitar. So there we go. It looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but basically what I've done is I've set it up so we can get these potentiometers inside and get the shafts up through the holes and get the nuts on them. The problem is, of course, that you can't get your fingers in to do any of this stuff. So the way to do it is to get these bits of wire through the holes, attach them to the tops of the potentiometers, and then you can pull it through. So I've already done the socket with a similar method, but already used a thicker bit of wire for that, obviously. So what I'm going to do now is put these into the cavity. Okay, so I've finally done it. There was quite a lot of swearing involved, and it took 2 attempts, but we have got the pots into these holes, and I just need to tighten these up, and then we can get the knobs back on. And when I've done that, we're going to put the Bigsby tremolo on, and get the bridge position back on there. It's a floating bridge, it's not a fixed bridge. String it up and tune its pitch and see what it's like. Oh, there is one extra wire here that I had to put in. So this is the ground wire for the earthing of the strings. So because this isn't a fixed bridge, we can't fix the wire to the bridge. Normally you'd have a hole drilled somewhere around here if it was a fixed bridge, and you could earth it directly to the bridge, but we can't do that. So what we're going to do instead is wind it around this, one of these screws that fixes the Bigsby, and it will provide an earth there. So I'm going to do that tomorrow and hopefully actually finish this guitar off tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we've got the strings on, bridges in position, the Bigsby's set up, everything's working except for an issue which I hadn't noticed when I got the guitar into the workshop, because it didn't have any strings on it. And the problem is that this pickup, which is the one that was originally on the guitar, is much too close to the strings. So when you play up round about this region, it interferes. It actually, literally, the strings are touching it, and also it's much too close anyway. So the sound which you get off it is really overdriven and not really appropriate for this guitar. So what I'm gonna see if the owner wants me to do is put another one of these Wilkinson P90 style pickups into the guitar. Okay, so latest news on the Verythin is that there is a change of heart, or a change of parts rather. So I was intending to use these Wilkinson mini humbucker pickups, but the problem is that they were too tall to go underneath the strings, or rather when you got round about the 15th fret on the fretboard, the strings would interfere with the pickup, or the pickup would interfere with the string. So what I had to do is find a set of pickups, two pickups which were low enough to go into the gap underneath the strings. And what we've got are these two rather cool looking toaster pickups, they're called, and they're humbuckers. They should sound great. I haven't wired them up yet. I did wire it all in, as you know, but of course, to take the other pickups out, I had to take all the wires out again. And the other thing we decided to do, in any case, was put a switch in, a selector switch. So there is now a selector switch wired in, which there wasn't before, and the hole for it is just here, which is consistent with round about where it would be on Verythins which had a selector switch, or other guitars of a similar nature which have a selector switch, which Hofner made. This one didn't have one. And also the other thing I've done is I've taken off the crude looking aluminium bridge, and I've replaced it with this rosewood floating bridge, which has got fret wire type saddles on it. And that works great, and it looks better, and it sounds better than the other arrangement. So the next thing I've got to do, also we've put this on, so we've got the old vibrato tremolo thing going. The next thing I've got to do is wire up the pickups into the pots, and then have the fun of getting the pots and the switch and the socket back into place. So it's finally finished. Everything's done on the guitar now. We've got the electrics together, soldered all the both the pickups in. Then we had the difficult job of getting the pots back into these holes here, and also the new switch, a selector switch. Someone asked me yesterday why it's there. Well, I would have preferred to put the switch here, but the problem is with the Verythin, it's very thin, and there isn't room for it because it's not deep enough here. The cavity is not deep enough. I could potentially have put it here, but I don't think it would have looked right. And if you look at a Gibson 330, that's where it is on that guitar, so that's fine. It actually doesn't interfere with the tremolo arm at all anyway, so I think that's good. I think the new bridge looks great. The pickups work fine, and there's plenty of clearance for the strings to vibrate. So I'm perfectly happy with this. One thing that I would change if it was my guitar would be to put a fresh set of tuners on it. The tuners are a bit old, but I'm going to give this back to Phil, and he can decide whether he wants to do that or not after he's played it for a little while. It's not a big job to change the tuners, and he can just bring it round for me, and I could probably do it while he waits. So anyway, the job's done.